And just like that, here we are live for Triple T number 108, 108, January 23rd, 2024, 12324. Which 123 is a special day here in our household because 12321 was the day I got married for the first time. And this was the tie that I was wearing. So this is the tie I'm featuring tonight. Tie and shirt, actually. And thanks for tuning in. My name is TJ Zebel. I jokingly, lovingly, whatever you want to call, refer to myself as a professional problem solver, followed by, no, that doesn't mean I know everything. I just have a unique way of asking lots of questions to help people get down to the answers they're looking for. I also have a website, thetswb.com. That's right, the tall, skinny white boy.com. Still amazes me when people are like, nah. I'm like, nah. For real? I'm like, yeah, for real. I offer a free 30-minute consultation. So just reach out to me. We'll set up a time. That's your time to ask me anything. And if you just want to chit chat, it's your time. But I help people with, I offer corporate coaching. I work with athletes all the way from beginning up to the professional level. I help people with depression, anxiety, phobias, PTSD, all sorts of fun stuff in there, getting after those demons and dragons. Notice I didn't say Dungeons and Dragons. Nothing against you guys, but I have no idea what that game is all about. I'm sure you could tell me. But what else? Facebook Live. Hi, Mom. And for those of you out in Facebook land, thank you so much for tuning in. Speaking of Facebook, if you're on there, please do me a favor. Smash the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave comments, comment on other people's comments, comment on your own comments. I just like seeing comments. Other than that, here we are. Anybody got anything new and exciting, ahas, epiphanies they want to share from the last time we showed up here and had fun together? Yes.
I don't know if anybody else is going to pop on. I mentioned last week that I am doing a course, which I'm super excited about. It's going to be a 6-week course. And I came up with a name after what I never realized. I don't know if this happens to you guys. When I think I did something and I was like, yay, accomplished it. But then I take it apart 3 more times until it's really finally finished, or about 12 more times. Either way, it's called In Her Thoughts, Mastering the Art of Positive Self-Talk. And inner is INHER.
Awesome.
I'm super excited.
Super cool.
Thanks. And that is the latest and greatest over here. Thank you, Holly.
Whoop, whoop. Anybody else got anything to share? Yes, no, maybe so. Well, other than on the chat, I see you guys down there tapping away.
My Kevin.
Huh?
Kevin posted in the chat.
Wow. Sending energy your way because I make it about 18 minutes some days and then I got to eat. So let me know how that goes.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've gone and scheduled it to be around the moon cycle. So the day before the full moon and 2 days before the full moon, I'm going with a wet fast where I'm taking liquids. And then the 24th, 25th, and 26th, which are the days the day of the full moon and the days just before and just after, they're going to be dry. And then I will be reintroducing liquids uh, for the 27th.
Right on. Oh, and sounds like Guada and Fran. I think Guada's on vacation, yes. And our dear Fran, I was gonna wish her a happy birthday. It was her birthday, so we'll just say happy birthday, Fran. We miss you. You can watch it on the recording. So, anything else before we dive into this week's topics of interest? No? Yes? No? Okay. Well, let's take a look here. This week we have using your tools, one event, and trained busyness, depending on how people read that. Using your tools. Well, this one, as with many of them, came from a session I was doing with a client. And it's interesting how we invest so much time into knowledge and buying tools and things of that nature. But I saw this meme once, and I'm kind of paraphrasing it by memory, where a guy was standing on a big pile of ladders trying to look over a wall. He said, just because you own the tools doesn't mean you're using them properly. And the next picture showed the ladder up against the wall with him up on the upper rung being able to look over the wall. And it kind of dawned on me that we can watch so many videos and we can take so many classes and we can learn so many things and believe we got it all figured out, but can't figure out why things aren't working. And then we hear something for the 30th time, which strikes us completely different because life has happened between the first time and the 30th time. And we have this, what? That's how it works? Oh! And we get all the downloads and the understandings, and things get simpler. And I've had this happen plenty of times myself. And now with technology getting to a point where how many of you have seen the videos, here's some hacks for your phone that you probably didn't even know? Well, of course I didn't know, duh. Who hid that in the 8th tab in the side of this tab when you go to this tab, and then you flip this one, and then you flip this button on, and boom. Mark, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I think it's the difference between skill set and mindset. Like I have a couple clients. One, I've probably taught him your version of PPP or attractivation, and worked on him for years. He could parrot me back at me as to what he should do in a dating scenario. Be able to approach a girl, the whole thing. But he just doesn't have the mindset to engage. He just can't seem to. And it's been years that I've been coaching him, and it just it's frustrating because I know he has the skill set. Without the mindset, you're never going to put that knowledge into action. And I have another client that for years I was recommending he do the 1, 2, 3 magic thing that I learned a long time ago, Dr. Gerard Phelan, and great program. And for years I was recommending it, and then finally, about 6 months ago, he started to actually use it at home. And he goes, the other day, he said, I never raise my voice anymore at home. And this 1, 2, 3 magic is amazing. I said, yeah, I've been telling you for about 5 years to use it. But until he actually did and saw the benefit of it, he couldn't see the worth. Yes.
Yeah. I think, yeah, Lenore, please.
I agree with Mark. It's, it's one thing to, and your meme, I love the meme because I've seen it before. It's one thing to have the tools, but to actually apply them. And isn't it knowledge is potential power and applied knowledge is power. I find that to be really resonating. It's one of those things also when you know what you should do and you don't do it, you're like, okay, well, great. Now I know it and I'm just not using it. So this is really functional.
Yes. Also, the quote of practice makes perfect is so erroneous because
nobody's perfect.
Practicing the wrong way. Well, this is how I learned it. I've been practicing it this way. Yes, and it's wrong, and you're doing it perfectly wrong. Perfect practice can make perfect.
I don't know. I've heard that one before. I think you've mentioned it before. The one that always sticks in my head is that ridiculous rhyme from literally 6th grade. If practice makes perfect and nobody's perfect, why practice?
Ooh. Yeah.
I did say 6th grade. I came with a warning.
Yes, no, and I know, and I'm first thing that came to mind is I wonder where that person is today. Would you like fries with that? Oops.
I do find it helpful thinking, kind of reframing it constantly. I like the one that you had mentioned. You've been practicing imperfectly, and I often tell kids, especially if they're working on an art exam, rather than practicing wrong, I'll say you've been practicing one way. Now we're going to practice another way.
Yeah.
So kind of reframe it for them on that end. Very interesting.
I got that point of view from a friend of mine who's a basketball coach. And he said it drives him nuts when it's a two-edged sword when he drives by, the park and father and son are out there shooting hoops and dad's teaching the kid how to shoot incorrectly. And he goes, yeah, and now in a couple of years, whatever, this kid's going to show up wanting to be on my team, and I'm going to have to get him to unlearn what his father taught him so I can teach him how to do it correctly. And I went, how ironic is that? He goes, yeah, that's why it's the two-edged sword. On the one hand, I love the fact that, dad's spending time with the kid, getting him to love the sport. On the other hand, set the kid up for failure because he's teaching him the wrong way. And the number of examples I think that we could put into that setting are sadly huge, I would believe. Mark.
I'm just playing with my new laptop expanded controls. Yeah, you probably all heard of the Harvard study where they took a bunch of 50 people and 25 of them, they gave them balls and they told them to practice free throws. And then the other 25, they took them to a classroom with a championship basketball player and had them do mental rehearsals for hours of where you stand, how you hold the ball, and have them mentally rehearse, And then they got all 50 kids back together, and you would think that the kids who had been practicing all day would do better. The ones who had been doing mental rehearsal, that they did far better because all they had been doing all day long is mentally rehearsing success.
Yes, and it's sad how many people don't understand the mental rehearsal part. They've even gone as far as, and of course, I'm going to have a couple of people now that were, into week 3 or whatever of resolutions, that people who are going to the gym, working their butt off, find out that there are people that have been working out in their head and getting results. Holly.
See if I can talk for a second here.
Yeah.
So just the concept of perfect just made me think of a couple things. First of all, it reminded me of a conversation. Perfect has more than one definition. And a couple of the definitions I've heard, one is complete, and another one is suitable to the situation. So, something doesn't have to be flawless to be perfect, is one of the first things that comes to mind. If you did the best you can and the best you can worked, it was perfect for the situation. It did everything that it was supposed to do, so that's called perfect. The other thing that comes to mind too is, and I know I've shared in organ class, we'd talk about find, fence, fix, fit. If you're playing the piano, you can't guarantee that next time I play this piano piece, I'm going to play it perfectly from beginning to end. You can't ever guarantee that. But if you find, a tiny piece and you fence it in and you play it slow enough that you're in control, you can play it perfectly a few times in a row. And so, you get some really good reps in. Now, granted, the other thing that pops into my head, of course, is in order to get good practice, you have to have competent feedback, whatever that means.
Yes.
But if you have that competent feedback, it is possible to be perfect if you chunk it down into small doses so that it's more manageable rather than trying to be perfect at everything all the time. So anyway, just a few thoughts.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for sharing, because it gave me a little flashback to a topic we had last week about, are we waiting for a unicorn, or are we waiting for one that's perfect for me? And that's why Triple P is perfect partner protocol, ... the perfect partner for you. Doesn't mean that they're perfect, doesn't mean they're flawless, because we are dealing with humans in their natural environment. And I had to go over one of my clients today, because is it just me, or have people noticed that this whole holiday hangover energy thing is still kind of kicking in?
Can you clarify?
Out and about, shopping. Even some of the people that, some of the workers at the stores that I'm friends with, energy is a little on the irritable side. When I talk to them and go, what's going on? They're just customers right now. So I don't know but watching the customers shopping are a little on the, I'm through with the whole patience and kindness. I just need my stuff. Well, even a couple of my clients now have had a few meltdowns the last couple of days, just because irritability, energy issues. And so I've been letting them know, utilize the tools that you've learned. Breathing, posture, keeping track of your energy, understanding scorpions do what scorpions do, and also in using the tools to go out and meet people. Use the trifecta: echo talk, 3 magic questions, values and criteria elicitation, ABT, always be testing. All of these things. It's a new year. I've also reminded them one of your tools is the story that you wrote for January 1st, 2025. As you get ahas and epiphanies, you're welcome to go back and add to that story. But don't forget to go into your yearbook or your day planner for the year and start putting in those events, reverse engineer your year. My wife and I are working on it right now, trying to figure out our year, because we're a little busy. We got things going on. And now it's time to start reverse engineering, because we could both use a vacation, or 2 or 5. And with the travel clubs now, things are opening up. And there's Elijah. Good to see you, my friend. And so we're populating that to make sure that we're, again, utilizing the tools that we have. Yes, Lenora.
How did you know I even using my speech bubble or my thought bubble?
Yeah, but I saw the little.
So I like that you had mentioned, and this is what I wrote down. So utilize the tools that you've learned. So I wrote down, apply the tools to take care of your home, your castle, however you like to call it. But then I also wrote, and decorate your kingdom with lovely people using echo talk and 3 magic questions. And I like having a picture and thinking of tools that way and creating. I know we talk a lot about your castle, your kingdom, what does that look like? How far people are on the outskirts and stuff. So I thought that was really an awesome one that you had mentioned about use your tools to meet other people.
Yes, thank you for sharing, and I appreciate that analogy and metaphor, because they do fit. Yes, you are your interior decorator for your kingdom, for your castle, and all of the social life skills that you're learning, those are tools, ways to meet people, ways to improve your tribe. Any other inputs, ahas, epiphanies on that before we seamlessly segue into the next topic, which is right in line with Lenora's amazing introspect? The topic is one event. You are one event, one hello, one introduction away from an entirely different life, an entirely different tribe, an entirely different job. And all these tools can help you with learning how to say that hello. Out of all the different jobs I've had, very few of them have been from an ad in the paper or something online. They were all a hello, a conversation. Oh, you're looking for somebody? Da 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 da. my going to Europe and living in Europe for a year and traveling around was a hello and getting to know a foreign exchange student from France. My ending up in San Diego was me apparently being arrogant, but saying hello in a Radio Shack to the lady that worked there and recognizing her with a friend of hers who I knew in a bar later on that night and saying hello. We are one event away. There was a really cool video that I saw on Instagram about a lady who made this hilarious little spoof news broadcast about her son who was in his room because he'd gotten in trouble. And she wrote her story underneath that, and it was basically, a year ago, I posted this as a joke because I didn't know how to handle my son's attitude at the time. And it got me a new job, which introduced me to my now fiance. One funky post, one event away from an entirely different life. Yes, Lenore.
I'm apparently muting both mics over here. I love the idea of your one event away. And at the same time, I've also been known to think I'm one event away. So I don't know which it is. So I need to go in 20,000 different directions and try and get that, which then has backfired. And I have a feeling this coincides with your trained busyness, which is your part 3. And finding that sweet spot of balance has been very, very tricky for me, extraordinarily tricky for me. And when I came back from vacation last year, I remember just being in this amazing, magical place. And even like sometime in March last year, I remember just holding it in for like a week or two of just things will work out, things will work out, things work out, and living in the magic of you're one opportunity away. It's just one opportunity. And things literally were getting sweeter and sweeter, and things were getting better and better. And somewhere, again, my switch inside had flipped. And I thought, no, I have to do everything. And I have to keep going and keep going and keep going. And resulting in overwhelming myself way too much. And that would be my trained busyness, which I think is a hilarious name, because you really do train yourself to be hustle, 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 move, 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 go, 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 go. And it's glorified. And at the same time, knowing what we know, knowing the tools of saying, hey, you have the tool to calm down. You also have the choice. Recognize that this is a choice that you're doing, Lenore. You have that ability to stop what you're doing. And having that inner game of go hard, no, slow down, da-da-da-da. It's fun. It's not like ping pong, but with like 15 different ping pong balls.
And perfectly introduced the next subject. Yes, you are correct. Hello, my name is TJ. I'm an overthinker. Hello, TJ. Welcome to Overthinkers Anonymous and Busybodies Are Us. And they do kind of coincide. This one coincides with both. Because, yes, part of those tools is also recognizing that not all of the tools that you've learned how to use are the most efficient anymore. We have
just threw a totally different word into the mix.
Right.
Which changed the whole sentence, which just reframed so many things.
Yes, because back in the day, phones hung on the wall with a big cord. Back in the day, calculators sometimes used to take up an entire bedroom. Back in the day, we had ideas of how we had to keep ourselves busy, but it didn't mean that we were efficient. We were full of busyness, but how far did we go? Mark.
This is kind of old, and I've been watching some of the older stuff. Colin Wilson, author, and he was talking about the conscious mind versus the subconscious or the emotional mind. The emotional mind gets all excited, gets all amped up. It's like the hamster on the wheel. And the conscious mind has to say, slow down, take a moment, take a breath, you know. And it's always an interplay between the conscious mind, which is, again, wants to be busy, and then, then the hamster gets on the wheel and start having all these, you start going faster and faster, and the conscious mind has to step in and go, whoa, slow down, take a breath, and but that's where we get our enthusiasm from, our passion from, is from the emotional mind. The conscious mind has to be like the good parent that says, okay, all right, focus on one thing, and see that to completion, and then just calm down. Just it's gotta pull in the reins of that hamster, because you get all excited about stuff, and I've had the same phenomenon. I would start 27 different projects at home and then be so scattered that I would never finish any of them. So I had to learn to slow down, just focus on one project, start, and I have all these. Well, I could do this right now. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I got another thing I can, I can start. No, one thing. Conscious mind has to step in and pull the reins back, slow that hamster down, even though the hamster's where we get our excitement, our passion, our drive from. The conscious mind has to work in concert with the subconscious, and just be the good parent, and be, all right, take a breath, slow down, keep the enthusiasm, focus on one thing.
And with that, and I appreciate you bringing that up, Mark, because it goes right back to tools. Mm-hmm. Those of us in the Overthinkers Anonymous gang have to have certain tools. And one that I've recently had to go back to was a project list, because I will literally bounce between, like you said, Mark, 27 different projects, because it's all shiny objects to the squirrel. Look at it. And then it's kind of like when you go up into the attic to clean the attic, and 8 hours later, you haven't cleaned anything, but you found a lot of really cool stuff. And a box of photos that you completely forgot about. And that whiz-bang thingy that you had back when you were like 7, that didn't quite work. So you worked on it a little bit till you got it to work again. And it only took you 45 minutes to get the whiz-bang working again. But there you are, and the day's gone. And sometimes, especially now, I've learned a lot of projects I've put off because I overestimated how long they would take. Or how complicated the process would be. And then all of a sudden I get started, and the next thing I know, I'm done. I'm like, for real? For real, I put it off for 8 months and I got it done in 35 minutes. For real. Which makes me disgustedly happy because I'm like, got it done. Darn it, finally. Yes, Lena.
Nope, that makes me mad. I put it off for that long. I put it off for 3 months to do something for 2 hours. Are you kidding me? Why did I sit there and wrestle with it for that long?
Yeah, yeah. And I've had enough of them lately, especially with the 7.2 trillion projects on this property that we bought, that I've finally gotten to the part where I just started making a list and just dive into it quick, knock it out, get it off the list. And it's amazing how much stuff I've gotten done. But I'm also realizing now that I have to structure my day a little bit better, because I pointed out to my wife the other day, there are days where I've got a ton done and I'm out the door 9 a.m. There are other days, 9 a.m., I'm still on the couch in my robe, sipping my coffee, looking at Instagram stuff. And for my friends on Instagram, I apologize, because you know what days those are. That's when you open up your Instagram and you go, 27 reels? 27? I mean, yes, they're all hand-picked for you, which means I only went through 2,700 to pick you the 27, but I hope they all apply. And I got a taste of it the other day because a buddy of mine was on a layover. How did I know he was on a layover? He didn't tell me. I had 35 reels to catch up on because he was sitting in the airport. That's a good one. That's a good one. And granted, 95% of them were all flipping fabulous. And those of you on my Instagram friends list got to see like probably 25 out of the 37. So you can blame some of it on him, but I digress. Back to trained busyness. And the reason I said trained is some of us, like, I've got trained busyness. I feel almost guilty when I'm sitting around not doing much. And people think I'm a workaholic until they meet my wife, and then they're like, she's a machine. Yes. High-speed machine running on full throttle, 12 hours a day. Makes me feel lazy sometimes, honestly. But part of that came from when I had to go to middle school. And Mom will verify, she'll probably get mad and laugh at the same time. Love you, Mom. Because there was a time about, I'd say, 3/4 of the way through middle school where I'd had enough. I was checked out. Because in 6th grade, out of my class of 30 kids, yes, 30 in my class, in 6th grade, a good portion of us had already completed 10th grade English and math. And back then, they didn't have advanced placement protocol, or we would have probably been able to complete and go on to college in like 9th grade, 10th grade. Well, we can't have any of that. So we were reading novels, big old monster novels, and and helping the other students with their homework. Well, speed up to 7th grade, they bumped all of us back to 7th grade English and math. And I was bored out of my living gourd. I did this back in 5th grade. Come on. So I went from straight A's to C's because I would get an A+ on the test and an F on homework because I wouldn't do it. Refused to do it. I had already found a mechanic shop that I could hang out with and work at after school, and I was learning, and I was challenged, and all the above. Flashback to what was going on, where I learned another form of trained busyness. Well, I found that if I couldn't make it 4 blocks, 5 blocks up to Main Street, where they picked us up on the school bus, well, I could miss school. But if I missed the bus, I didn't get to stay home and just do nothing. So I would do the lawn chores, and I would wash the dishes, and I would clean the house, or I would do anything so that when Mom found out that I accidentally missed the school bus again, I could say, but look at all I did all day. I was busy all day. And that tied over to even the concept of when I rarely took sick days from work. I had to be sent home from work. I would still show up because being busy and having that work ethic was that important. But that was trained. And the more I got into it and started getting into certain jobs like bar manager and things of that nature, luckily the mechanic shop I worked at he always had a list, the round to it list. If there's time for leaning, there's time for cleaning. If you're here to work. When we work hard. When we play hard. But there's no reason to be sitting around while you're at work. There's the round to it list. When you have time, you get around to it, and you get all the way down to the bottom. And when you get down to the bottom, guess what you get to do? Right back to the top and start all over again. Mark.
Buried somewhere, I actually have a wooden round to it that my dad had. I don't know what it was used for, like, as money, but yeah, what you're saying again, but my dad had a great work ethic. I got that from him. My kids got it from me. But it was modeled more than anything else. I mean, I'm sure it can be, again, but if I'm not saying average is full-time is in a clinic is 25 here, and if I'm not seeing 35 people, I feel like I'm a slacker, in a given week. And it's all that, but it was, I didn't really internalize it or think about it. It was just my dad worked 80 hours a week, and it was modeled, and my kids saw how hard my wife and I worked, and they kind of got that work ethic from us in that way. But hey, work hard, play harder.
Yeah.
Friend of mine's favorite saying.
And that's also why those of us in the Overthinkers Anonymous group and Trained Busyness group need vacations, proper vacations, to get away from the squirrels, the shiny objects, the the list, and just take a break from that so that you can come back refreshed and reassess what's in front of you and prioritize and do triage evaluation, and then have a fresh attack. That's why so many top CEOs are known to take quite a number of vacations. People are like, oh, it's just because they got so much money and they can do whatever they want, and privilege, da. But are they getting the job done? And after being in the travel club as long as I have been, and being blessed beyond measure to have traveled as much as I have, I get it. Because I've traveled with those guys that they're making big, and the amount of stress that they're under and the microscope that they're under and what they're responsible for, they need that outlet. And some of them are still thinking a bit about work while they're on vacation, but they're thinking about it on a different time zone, on a different plane. It's not in the office, it's not in a suit, it's not with the secretary and all the others barging into their office and interrupting their train of thought. They get to do it sitting on a beach with a cocktail in their hand, with no time frame, and ahas and epiphanies are flowing in much easier. And they're not rushing to call and get it done. They're writing down I've seen some of their thoughts, some of their ideas on bev naps. They're just sitting there and they're like, oh, they write it down, and they just make sure that that one doesn't go into the pool with them. But they get to take it as a business expense if they talk business on the way, which is smart, but they come back more refreshed. And Lenora?
Oh, wait. Sorry. I was gonna, I can wait.
No, go ahead, please.
So I had mentioned the other day that I was going in 19 different directions and had like 45 things that I was chasing at the same time. And I had realized that when I was younger, it was if you were doing something and somebody didn't approve of it, then you had to find something that people would approve of. And so you had to make yourself appear busy. And so I became so busy with finding something to do so people didn't think I was lazy, that I really found stuff to do. And then I found way too much to do. And trying to find that balance, because I'll go for periods of times, like I mentioned, I'm like, oh, it's really good. I can maintain this. And then somehow this other habit just creeps up. So I now have taken it to like 30 to 40 days of, these are the only 3 things that are going to be my top priority. And if these other ideas come in, I'm going to write them down. But these are the most important, because these I need to literally take action on, because they're going to be experiences that I'm going to carry out. And after I made that decision, and I really thought about it a lot yesterday, hands down, guys, I slept so much better last night. I could not even tell you. I woke up thinking it was Saturday.
Yay!
That's how much better I slept. And even when I came down this morning, everything just moved so much easier. It wasn't nearly as effortful and heavy and delaying and procrastinating. So when people say they go on vacation, it's amazing that this culture would make you think, no, go harder, go faster. And then there are other people that are saying, yeah, but go with periods of time where it's time to take action and it's time to also pause and really regroup, collect your thoughts, re-energize. And it's something that I'd love to share with people because I really have found the difference, but I need to practice it more often. So that is the new art that I am practicing.
I'll be with you in just a sec, Mark. What you brought up was a really good deal. Is I'm trying to remember who said it first, or I've heard it many times since. If you have more than 3 top priorities, you don't have any priorities at all. You have to break down what you want done. And part of it is the psychology behind being able to mark something off the list. And so I tell a number of my clients, you can make your top 3 priorities, get out of bed at, make your bed by, be out of the shower by. Ding, ding, ding. Now you've got your 3 top morning priorities done, and you can break your day into 3-4 different units and still keep your priority. If you're one of those people, those overachievers that needs to see 24 things on your list, then what are your top 3 for this section? What are your top 3 for this section? And just keep knocking them down. Mark.
There's a book out there, it's kind of old, called How to Get Control of Your Time in Your Life, and recommends that you first thing in the morning come up with a to-do list for today, and then you take the list and you label them A's, B's, and C's. And I recommend this to clients that seem overwhelmed by all the different squirrels. And you list the A's and you try to get most of the A's done. And while you're having your coffee, you do the list. And as you accomplish things during the day, you get to cross off that. And if you get most of your A's done, a couple of the B's, and then couple of, and then 1 or 2 of the C's, you can look at the list at the end of the day and see how much you've accomplished. And then next day, rewrite the list of things that didn't get done and other things you want to get accomplished the next day. And this is a tool. And then you relabel them A's, B's, and C's every day. So you know what your A's are, you know what your B's are, you know what your C's are. And, I thought it was, I've been teaching it for a long time to clients. And that's a way, because a schedule doesn't lock you in. A schedule frees you up. That was one of his main tenets in the book.
Amen. And one of the things in line with that, and I'm glad you brought that up, was some of the top producers have pointed out, especially for those in the Overthinkers Anonymous department, of writing that list down before you go to bed so that your brain goes, okay, we got tomorrow planned, CP time. Go with CP, no thinky. And keep a pad and paper by your bed for those times where your silly subconscious forgets what you said and goes, hey, I know it's 2 a.m, but do penguins' knees actually rattle when they're swimming? No, not that one. But something to do with work, so you can get up, write it down, and go, okay, got it. Back to CP time. And we got about 5 minutes left. Any other questions, ahas, epiphanies, add-ons to any of these topics? Was this helpful? Did you guys using your tools, one event, trained busyness?
Very helpful. Very, very helpful.
And one event could be one training, one aha, one epiphany, one little nugget from something like this that can help make things easier. Just like with tools. And people that know me, especially if you've been in anybody that's been in my shop, I'm a tool junkie. I've got some pretty cool tools. Some of them are pretty old. But I'm also pretty selective about my tools. And it was interesting when I needed some help with the apartment that I remodeled, because there are certain projects that just you need extra hands. And the company I hired and the contractors that showed up were amazed at some of the tools that I have that they had never seen, they'd never heard of, and I'm like, and I hired you? And now they own they went out and bought some of the tools that I introduced them to, because they found out how much easier it makes the job. But again, one event, right tools, and each night I would clean the shop or clean the workplace, and then write a list of projects that we prioritized for the morning. So that takes us up to close enough for us to go, Fran, are you there? Fran, are you there? Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Fran.
Thank you. Yes, I had a lovely day. Thank you very much.
Good. Well, you just made your morning, our night better. Again, I want to thank both Elijah and you for showing up, because some of you people that are watching on YouTube or watching the recording don't realize how far away these fine people are, and how blessed we are to have you here on Triple T. I truly appreciate that. So that I'm going to call that the top of the hour. So other than a good happy birthday, what else do we have for topics and questions for the second hour? Yes, Lenora.
I have a question for everybody who's been to a conference.
Yes.
Pull on the thoughts of people that you've been to a conference or if you've presented at the conference, and leads me to my question of one event. Should I invest in a table at the conference that I'm going to in Florida? And I actually have 2 speaking spots at this event. So I'm super excited. I know. I just found out today, like 2 hours ago. So what are your thoughts? Would you invest in a table? Would you not invest in a table?
And for those of you that are watching this for the first time, second hour rules for me is I let everybody on the call answer first, because I like to learn. And then if there's anything that I can add, I will be the last to answer. So who's got some answers for our lovely Lenora?
Well, I don't really know what that all means. So can you give me a bit more background of what it means to have the table or not have the table, please?
Totally. So I didn't realize what it was either, Fran, until I had gone to a conference in Chicago. And they have a room where you can, I don't have a book yet, That's purchased in concrete copy. So when other people are presenting, especially if they have a book or if they have a lot of things going on, they will purchase a table. So basically, they will set up a table, and in between the rooms going on, people will come up to the table and you can talk with them, or there's just a lot of camaraderie in the room. And I don't know, last time people didn't know that I was one of the presenters. People also didn't know that I also work with people unless they had come to that class that I was teaching. So there was a lot of learning, and trust me, I did not want to have a table that first time, but now I'm like, okay, what do I do this time? Now I know more. And
Well, the only downside sounds if you're manning the table and it's only you doing that, are you going to miss out on the rest of the conference?
no, because at least for me, if it's in between the times people are talking, then I can at least be there, and I'll have a couple things out on the table and have somewhat of a setup so that people can recognize me and I could talk with them. But no, I don't have to stand there the whole time, of which I have done when I sold cookies. And I didn't get to be a part of the fair. I just sold cookies.
Sounds like you've answered your own questions.
Mark.
I think you should do it. And if you don't have your book, all together, maybe you could print up, some interesting excerpts from it and have multiple copies of that to build, your
paper trail credibility.
Paper trail, basically, just have different parts of the book, different excerpts and, page or two so that people garner interest, just an idea, you don't have to have the complete book, you'd have just an excerpt.
That is a great idea.
Several.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Anybody else got some advice for Lenora?
Sign heads to yes and tails to no. Flip a coin, right? And I'm not even joking, right? Because the answer will make you feel a certain way, and how you feel will tell you the truth. So like you'll flip the coin and it will land on no, and you're inside, you might go, but I want a table. And that's the real answer, right? So I have often used a coin in a dilemma situation just to figure out how I really feel about it. Because choice only starts at 3, right? So when there's only one option, there is no option. That's what you're stuck with. When there's 2 options, that's a dilemma, this or that. It's only at 3 do you actually have choice.
I did not ever hear that. That's some awesome insights.
There's a new tool.
Yeah, how about it?
Yeah, right. And I'm so glad you brought that up, Elijah. I've actually used that for people a number of times. And I tell them, if you see yourself going, well, 2 out of 3, well, 5 out of 7.
Yeah, it's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, as soon as you're pushing for that, you're like, you know the answer. Well, but.
And then that's the point, right? See, well, you seem to know the answer. Yeah, but. So you get the yeah, but part.
Yep.
The part that knows the answer, and suddenly you can multi-chair therapy the whole thing then and there, because you got the two parts. Just the moment you go against what that part of you wants, it's going to show itself.
Yep.
Which is why I say to people when I coach coaches, I say to them that if you're not making headway, or if the client's not making headway, just start going down a certain direction and the objection will show itself.
Yes.
Right? You're not doing it because you're a bad therapist and you're influencing your client to go a certain way. You're doing it to give them a little nudge to say, come on then, subconscious mind, show me what you really want. Right?
Just did it today.
That's right.
Just did it today. Great stuff. Mark.
when you're caught on the horns of a dilemma, like I said, I've used the coin thing for many years, and Elijah's got it nailed. Because a lot of times, like I said, for men, when they're feeling anxiety, it's because they're caught on that, on the horns of a dilemma. They've got the fence pole firmly up their arse. And I tell them, make a decision. Whatever decision you make, it's going to be the right one for you based on, how you feel when you flip the coin. And then, again, but yeah, I was working with a guy for about 6 or 8 months. He had a personal issue and he kept asking me, what should I do? I said, I don't know, because I'm not you. I haven't lived your life. I said, but whatever decision you make, it's going to be the right one if you listen to your heart.
Awesome.
Love that.
And my only input on getting the table, to bring it back to the table, what is the cost and what is your potential ROI?
And then that's where we get into the hopeful game of the little voice that goes, but you never really know.
Yeah.
I mean, that voice is never wrong. You never really know.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
But then the thing is,
You have the other voice that
There
goes,
are
you should have listened to me.
right? For example, you do know how much it costs.
Yes.
You do know how much additional work you're going to be doing because of it. You do
Yes.
know, and you have to just figure out, is that, because that's the cost of doing the business. Do you understand? So like I trade. I know I'm going to go a little segue. I really apologize, but I'll try and make it quick. You guys know, many of you know, I do day trading, right? And a lot of traders won't put on a trade if they think it's going to lose, right? They won't let the evidence that's in front of them dictate whether or not they pull the trigger on a trade. What they're doing is letting their emotion pull the trigger on whether or not they should take the trade. Oh, it doesn't feel like a good one, or it doesn't, and then they get upset when they're wrong. Right? Whereas if you have a strong set of rules that define if these 3 things are all, or these 4 things are all present, then I'm going to take this trade no matter what. And then you have also an exit strategy, which is just as clearly defined. If these things happen, I'm going to exit with profit. If this other thing happens, I'm going to exit for a loss. Right? And after the trade, you win, you win some, you lose some. Right? But the ones you lose, it's not like it's you lost or you were wrong or that you should take it personally like a stab to the heart or something. That's the cost of doing business. Right? My mentor who taught me how to trade, one of them, said, if you want to make $2 million, you have to be willing to lose 3. And what that means is if you want to net 2 million, you have to gross 5 million. And you'll be, when you gross 5 million, you will net 2. And the other 3 million that you lost, that was the cost of doing business along the way, right? And so those are the things you do know. Oh, but you never know. Yeah, but okay, it's going to cost me this much per table. It's going to cost me this many extra hours, this much extra time standing on my feet, this much more time me repeating myself, right? And is that something you're willing to pay now? And that's it.
So my question for you is, when you say that phrase, because you've said it before, and I also am thinking, but I've already done that. I've already invested that. Like, I'm very aware of that. And at what point do you say it's gonna work out? It's gonna work out.
I've already done that statement does not count and you cannot use it until after you've retired.
Okay.
Once you've
That's an
retired and you're
interesting little
done,
reframe.
once you've retired and you're done, you can say, do you know what? I already did that. But until then, you are still doing.
Yep.
Because you're not done yet.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
I've got
intrigued.
another bit to
Go on,
add to
Fran.
what Elijah was.
Thrilled.
Tag, you're it.
If you run the scenario of what would it be like if you didn't do that? You went to the conference and you didn't do it. How would you be feeling? What opportunities would you have missed out on? What possibilities would you have missed out on? It's the things we don't do that we regret, not the things that we do. Even if the things we do appear to other people to be a mess, it's never wasted opportunity, possibility, learning. You would so regret if you've got this opportunity saying no to the opportunity from what you're saying, but you have to run the scenario for you of what it would be like if you didn't. Going to that conference and not doing it, and then seeing what's going on and thinking, I could have done this. I could have been there. So
And
just
not
run
all
that
doo-doo
one.
is, remember, not all doo-doo is bad. But what are you going to do if you don't do this? Because you still have the freedom to roam the halls and use the tools that you have to meet the people. But will it be as effective as doing a table? Therein lies the question.
Mm-hmm.
Linda.
First of all, happy birthday, Fran. Second of all, about your table, Lenora, I mean, yeah, there is a certain amount of dollars and cents. I mean, you may or may not have something to sell. The cost of the table is a certain dollar amount. But there's some other things to consider in that it's you can mine opportunities, you can mine ideas. You can, if somebody wants to talk to you, now they have a place to go and find you. They don't have to, chase you all over the facility or wherever you are. And it's kind of a kind of like almost like a central home that people can come into your space for a little while and interact with you. And there might be, you don't know, it could be a publisher there, could be somebody there looking for ideas. There could be, I don't know what the conference is about, but there could be additional opportunities. And then if you decide to go ahead and take the table, let's chat. I did trade shows for, oh my God, I have no idea how many years and how many trade shows. So I have a couple of little pointers I could give you. And about just engaging with people and some do's and don'ts and some little fun things you can do to get people to engage. So sometimes it's not a matter of dollars and cents, and I'm totally down with the whole coin toss thing. Use your intuition, use your gut feeling. And if it's not too expensive, you can even use it as like a test bed, and just even to see if you like doing that, if you like having a table, if you like being there and interacting in this way. So there's a lot of reasons to go ahead and do that, but I can't balance out the cost factors for you because I don't know anything about that.
You guys are the best. Thank you. Lots of insights.
Good stuff. Did you get enough answers and options?
From this group, always.
Cool. Well,
Thank you, guys.
If it's satisfactorily answered, then we need another question or topic.
It is answered.
Okay.
Anybody else?
And the silence. Come on. I know for a fact that some of you have notebooks of questions that.
So I got some momentum going, and I was really proud of myself, and I was very much in achieving mode, like many little baby step achievements, but they were happening. and they were happening for 10 days maybe. And then something happened that put me out of commission, and I had to, bed rest and injury and all that shit, right? Go see a doctor, get a prescription, mad painkillers, all that shit. And right now, I feel like it's whatever it is, it's like it's something that's out to get me. Because every fucking time, dude, I make a little bit of headway, and I like it takes me months sometimes to catch that momentum and start on that journey, right? And every time I just get knocked off, and it's shit that's completely out of my control, and it's shit that has no reason. Like, I didn't fall, I didn't bang anything, I didn't do anything strenuous. I literally woke up and my knee was fucked and I couldn't walk. There was no injury, there was no banging, there was no falling, there was no funny sleeping, there was nothing.
Do
And
you
now
think
it takes me 10 minutes to go up and down, to go down like 3 flights of stairs because I can't walk. And I'm
do you think
pissed,
that
right? So my question is, I know the whole state control thing and all that shit, but I'm way past it now. I'm angry. And I feel like there's some kind of conspiracy, and somebody say something or do something, help me get out of it. How's that? Is that a
the
good topic?
first question is, do you think this is something that's happening from your own subconscious to wake you up for some reason or other?
I would like to say no, but you never know. But I would like to say no, because we've been through this many times, me and my subconscious, and we've been through it alone, and we've been through it with a coach, and we've had lots of sweats and deep, trances, which led to a lot of progress. And so I would like to think that whatever that was once has now been taken care of, and I should be better now. Because there was a time when it was really overprotecting me from something. But we've had that episode where we go through that history, and we came to the agreement that, the order and the instruction that was set back then is no longer valid today. And these are the reasons why. And, And so I feel like I've been through that part of the series of sessions in my being coached rather than my coaching, in my being coached by other people. I think I've made through that progress. So I'd like to say no, it's not a self-sabotage.
Anybody else got an idea or an answer for him? See, Lenore's pulling out.
If you want me to condense it into an actual question, right, is like, I know the state control thing works, but what does one do when one is so upset and angry at the situation that they themselves are refusing to do the state control stuff? Like, I'm refusing to do my power pose, and I'm refusing to, because I'm just that friggin' angry.
Yep.
I would suggest some content-free time would be a really good.
Hit me up, Fran. I'm down. I'm off all week. I'm not going. Like, the doctor wants to see me again on Monday. I can't. I've been given the week off. I can't go to work because of the injury, right? So hit me up anytime. I'm there.
I'm up for it.
Yeah.
You missed the first part of the first hour, which is using your tools and using them properly, on how we've got so many tools to our access, like you just pointed out. You just hit on all of the advice that you would probably give to one of your clients, because you hit on a number of the ones I would give to my client. In fact, I did today. One of my clients had a recurring migraine, and when I pointed out to them that we've found out that a high percentage of migraines are simply a replay of the original, it's figuring out where did that original, what brought that on, and going back and taking the energy out of that. And I know you know this stuff, but
That's what makes it so annoying.
yeah, I got it. I've got my own ones too. That's why I I identify with what you were saying as you're talking. I'm sitting there looking at, yeah, this knee, yeah, this hand, and I know as well as you do, and it's frustrating as all can get out. What would you advise me to do if it was me, out of curiosity?
I would do whatever is necessary to somehow break your state and make you laugh.
Okay.
That's what I would do. And only after you're laughing would I ask you to then tell me what you're going to do next. But I wouldn't ask you to make a decision on what to do next while you're angry.
Okay.
I didn't know Aaron was on this call. That's what Aaron always does. Every time I'm in session, Aaron, Elijah, what would you tell your client if you were in always. That's
He's gonna love that.
Elijah, what would John Oberdeff do if he was doing
Uh-huh. So
I think that you got to deal with that feeling and somehow discharge it. And like I said again, because until you can discharge that feeling, do something to dissipate the feeling, you're not going to be actually able to think about what skills and strategy you have to to and then and you said it was about, you had like 10 days where everything was going perfectly, and take that as a benchmark, okay, and see if you can do better as far as but you got to do something with the feeling, because when we're in our emotional mind, we don't think rationally, we don't think logically, and we don't think reasonably. And but you got to get, again, I don't think as men we don't like to feel anything. We like to be all cerebral, all cognitive. But to get back to your cognitive mind, you got to dissipate that feeling of anger, frustration. You have to do something, and and I'm sure that that you're already thinking about some of the tools that you have to do that, and so you can dissipate that feeling, so you can start to think rationally again about how do I you took action, you're going to the doctor, but it's the feeling you got to deal with. That's kind of where and if you can dissipate the feeling, then you can get back to your rational mind and start seeing that well, you had, like I said, you had 10 days in a row where the world was your oyster. And how do you do better? How do you get it to 11? How do you get it to 12? And just start doing those things again, but do better.
out of curiosity, Elijah, what you said, it was your knee?
My left knee has just decided it's not having
What
it.
a flippin' coinky dink.
Isn't it?
Yeah, mine too. Literally.
Really?
Was at the chiropractor
I
yesterday.
literally got like I literally got one of those brace strap things, right, that I have to wear around it.
Uh-huh.
The doctors give me naproxen painkillers, right? And I can't put any weight on it. I mean, I can stand on my left leg, like if the leg is straight, but I can't put any weight on my left leg if my leg is even slightly bent.
Okay, then let's look into the universe and see what's going on with left legs these days. Because my left knee is, well, I've already had enough doctors tell me that my knees are both toast and they're surprised I can walk, but mind over matter. And some days I don't mind, and then it doesn't matter. But other days, like you say,
Oh, he wasn't having it. The thing is, I worked all week, no problem, you know, up the way through till Saturday. Sunday was my only day off. And then on Sunday, I felt a little twinge, but you know, no big deal. Whatever. I didn't have to go outside or anything. I was at home the whole day, just resting, taking it easy. And Monday, I was going to work. I live on the third floor. Well, it's the third floor for us. It might be the fourth floor in America or the second floor. Like we count, the ground floor is 0, and then I live 3 up, right? So, and as soon as the first step on the first set of stairs, nope, wasn't having it.
yep.
Wasn't having it. And I had to limp down the stairs, keep my left leg straight. I go down on my left leg, and then my right leg can take the weight. And then I go down on my left leg, and coming up is the other way. My right leg has to go first.
Yep.
And then my left leg can follow, but I can't like walk like this. I have to kind of,
Yep.
you know.
That was me 2 months ago.
You know, no pun intended, but it's a pain in the ass.
Yes.
Right? My ass is fine, by the way.
Glad
That is the majority opinion. What
you
I'm saying is,
clarify that,
it's a
bro.
pain in the knee, you know? It's a pain in the knee that's become a pain in the ass.
Yes.
So what would come out of John Overdorf's ass to tell you what to do?
Do you know what's weird? I didn't even try spinning it. I didn't even try spinning it.
Using your tools, brother.
We're waiting.
And I actually have a video testimonial from a client who swears by me taking away his knee pain using spinning. And I didn't even try to spin. I didn't even think about it till just now.
I got a question for you as well. Are you sure it's yours and not somebody else's?
This is what I was saying in the beginning about I feel like there's some kind of conspiracy going on. Like whatever it is and wherever it comes from is somehow against me. I feel like there is some. Listen, if you're on YouTube right now and you think I'm going cuckoo, I understand. But I'm going to say something that sounds a little nuts, okay? Right? I feel like there is some jinn or spirit or someone somewhere, some entity that may or may not be human that is out to prevent the change that I am so close to achieving.
Ah.
And I've been after for a little while now, right? I was talking to Lenora once about, remember I was talking about epigenetics and all that shit, right? Like, dude, I'm so close to learning and teaching how to change the gene expression, right? Using hypnosis, right? You want to grow your hair back, or you want to, like that kind of stuff.
I like what Holly just
gene expression. Sorry.
No, the gin expression. Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. That's very good ambiguity. Yeah. But yeah,
Holly just pointed
I'm
out
the whole epigenetics thing right now, and really, really close to not cracking it, but like having some tangible, hey, look, this is what I used to look like, and this is what I look like now, and can't you see the difference in these two photos? Kind of thing, right? And I just feel like
You
what you're
just
saying
looked
about
at
is
it
is it
multiple
yours?
times.
You know, it might not be mine.
Yeah. I don't think it is, and neither does Holly, the way you look at it. You've already looked at it a number of times. It's right there.
I looked at it. See, I
Uh-huh.
don't know. Like, I'm not watching myself. You must be. Where did I look?
Well,
I was gonna say
let's-
you could play it back, but if you look to your right and like, yeah,
To my
watch the
right?
video
This
back.
is my right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were looking a little bit higher than that though. I think not quite that high. Right about there.
Here. Interesting.
And I saw you
No,
reach out. I saw you
I
look there, and I
remember
also saw you
looking
reach out
here.
there.
I remember looking here. I don't remember looking here.
well, this replay will be available for you in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out.
And Elijah, I deal with energy attachment type stuff too, so
Yeah,
we're
this is
good.
another reason why you're my go-to in this context.
What a tribe! What a tribe! What a tribe!
Yeah, just it's so funny. I said to someone once, the only time it doesn't work is when you don't use it.
Yeah. What a concept.
I know, right? Because I mean, David said it, so I was paraphrasing David.
What I'd like to point
It
out
seems to be true.
for all the people that are on YouTube or watching this replay, and you're wondering what we're talking about, feel free to reach out to any of us, because we it's would you agree it's easier for us to help those outside of the profession with this stuff than it is for those of us inside? That's a
No, I
question
wouldn't
for you.
agree. I think it's the same.
Good.
I think sometimes the people who are qualified, they're a little bit too clever for their own good, and they think they know what's going on, and that's why it's even easier sometimes. But that doesn't mean that working with people who are not qualified is somehow hard. Like, I think it's down to the chemistry between the two individuals, or whether or not it makes it easy and hard. More to do with how good a rapport you have with your client, or how good a rapport your client has with you. And if that's okay, then it's always easy.
Right now, I'm watching a recording of Scott Sandland, and I feel bad now because I can't try and
Richard
Scott
Rumble,
Elman,
Dave Ellman.
Dave Elman,
Oh, Cheryl Ellman.
something like that. But they're talking on pain management and pain hypnosis, and both of them agreed that doctors are aware of it. For some of them are. I'll clarify that. Some of them are aware of it, but by the time they refer a patient to people like us, we're the last resort.
And a lot of times the unconscious does it by then anyway.
Yeah, but by the
Unconscious
time
is
they
like,
come to us, they've been in
not
pain
useful.
for so long that we have to be careful to not say, oh yeah, I can fix that. Because it's almost like a slap in the face. Like, really? I've been dealing with this for so long, and you're just brushing it off like, oh, this will be, flip the switch and you're good.
Oh, but you don't say that. We don't say it that way.
No,
We
but
in
that
this
was
tribe are
yeah.
careful enough to not say it that way. To
Some
not
that aren't properly
them,
trained do.
Well, and you know what triggers me more than any other thing in this world, TJ?
So,
Is bad hypnosis. Bad hypnosis triggers me to, oh, dude, you want to see me get angry?
uh-huh. Yeah,
oh,
and Scott was talking about that as well, because he had somebody that a student who had just gotten his certification and corrected him and said, "Well, when I teach it," and he goes, "When you teach it, how many clients do you have?" "Well, I just got my certification a couple of weeks ago." "And you're teaching?" "Yeah, my teacher told me that we can teach as soon as we get the certification." And he said, You went to so and so's class." "Yeah, how'd you know?" "Because we know who they are, and we have to fix people like you who've been taught by people like them."
So this is actually one of the reasons why I don't put my certificates up in the background like you guys. Okay, and I'm not saying you should change. I'm not saying you should do it my way. You know, I'm very proud of everything, and you should be very proud of everything you've achieved. But I also have a shit ton of certificates, and they're all kind of hidden away in that cupboard over there. And I don't put them up because I don't want someone to trust me based on how many certificates I have. I want to do my consultation, my pre-consultation that I do, that we all do, right? Okay. And I want them to use that time to figure out whether I'm a good fit for them. Right? And I want them to slay me with the hardest questions and whatever concerns they have or wherever they're coming from. I want them to just speak their truth, and I will answer as best as I can. And in the end, if it turns out that they think I'm not up to it, that's cool. Right? If somebody wants to ask me, okay, you say you've had so many X number of hours training, can you prove it? Then yeah, sure. I'll take out the certificates, I'll take a photo, and this one was worth 50 hours, and this one was worth 50 hours, and this one was only worth 35 hours, and I can show you the thousands of hours of training. I have all of them, right? But I don't put them up because I want the interaction between myself and them to be much more human, much more, like we are going to become, this is going to sound weird, intimate in a non-sexual kind of way. Like there's going to be a sharing of my innermost and your innermost. And this is why we can't be doing therapy with our friends and our family, because it fucks up the relationship.
Yep.
The dynamic of the relationship you have with the person. You know what I mean? It doesn't. Anyway, whatever. Sorry, I ended up on a rant. But the point is that it comes back to this idea of trust and rapport and connection, rather than, hey, I got this certificate, but you don't know how good was the person who taught you that gave you that certificate. This is what we're saying, right? About bad hypnosis, where you're saying, oh, this guy, he said that, oh, the moment you finish my class, you can teach. Who the hell is that guy to decide whether or not you're good enough to teach?
Amen.
Right?
Yep.
So let's have a face-to-face, let's have an interaction. And why don't you being the person who's going to be hiring me, decide whether or not this is where you want to spend your money?
Exactly.
Right? Sorry, I went on a rant.
I could argue that.
Do it. Go on. I'm ready. Hit me.
Because people are showing up and they're going with the first impression to see. So how you look, how you act, what's behind you, all these other things. So when you do that, you set yourself up for more success because they're already coming in with their own perceptions. And a lot of the time, certificates are proof. They don't know why would they know who was a good teacher, who was a bad teacher? They're coming to you and they're saying, oh, this person is clearly, they have invested in themselves. I mean, in fairness, you cannot tell that those are degrees, but I could bring them and show them. It just helps to cater to the validity of, I have invested in something that's important to me and I'm wanting to show up and help you in every way I can. I'm going to show you as much as I possibly can this first impression of my integrity and my credibility. That's my only argument.
And that's good. It's a good way of doing things, just not my way.
Right.
And
that's,
just
I would-
think though, if you were going to a lawyer and you had no idea which law firm was good or which specialized in what, how are you going to choose? How are you going to have
They also
confidence?
have free consultations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, I trust my feelings.
I tell clients right out of the gate, I said, you know, you've got to feel that, because I believe that both Laura and, you know, and Elijah are correct, but you gotta feel that click. And with your therapist. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. You know, you're wasting my time, but I consider their time more important. You got to feel that intimacy, that closeness. It's not really a sexualized word,
And if they're
but
listening.
people want it to be. Again, we have, you know, you have a therapeutic relationship. It's very intimate, but you know, but yeah, if somebody needs the certificates or whatever, they're there, you know, to you know, basically that's your bona fides. And you know, but I think that, but without that click, they're not going to be willing to open up to you. They're not willing to, again, they've got to feel that, you know, and, you know, in the first session, you know, and I tell people if it's not the right fit, maybe you need to find somebody else, um, you know, but if people need the certificates, they're there, they're on my wall. But yeah, but circling back to, like I said, your pain issue, you know, again, as soon as you get off the chat, you should spin it out, you know, and you know what to do, go do it, basically, and utilize your skill set, I said, and you know, we feel your pain, and we want you to get better, and I think nothing's going to happen until, you know, you can get, you know, at least you know, turn down that pain, you know, get it manageable. And you know, I the other day I was having some hip pain, and I, you know, demonstrated it to a client that you really have to get into it, got to get the body involved. And you know, I spun out my hip pain right in front of them. And, you know, like I said, you know, it works. You've done it enough times. I've done it over 1,000 times. It's never not worked, you know, so more than 1,000. But, you know, you have to deal with that so that you can, you know, again, then you can assess, you know, again, where you're at. Like I said, the neurology always amps up pain anyways, because it's trying to help you. It's trying to, you know, it's hoping you won't hurt yourself more. So it increases, you know, by a factor of at least 2, the perception of pain. And that's in the, you know, that's in the proprioceptive system. You know all this stuff. I'm preaching to the converted here. But but you know that, but you have to, like I said, but you have to be able to take action, you know, and you know, and you have, like I said, you have a very deep toolbox. TJ referred to that, you know. Sometimes I refer to it as a toolbox. Sometimes I refer to it as a demon bag, because there's a lot of there's a lot of dark knowledge in there, along with a lot of good knowledge. But yeah, you always have that at your elbow. You always have that at your, you know, you can reach into it. Sometimes I just let, you know, my subconscious come up with things, you know, and you have to trust it, you know, that what emerges is going to be the right tool to use with with that particular client. But Yeah, you got to, like I said, bad hypnosis. I've done it. I did it for years. I did a guided relaxation, reading from the book. And when I found out about hypnosis, I realized I was doing really bad hypnosis. I was putting the book between me and the client. And um, when I learned about that, I was like, yeah, it's time to throw the book away and actually be in the moment with my client. But yeah, like I said, you need to use your own skill set and have the mindset that I do have the ability, skills, and resources to whether it be that or some other tool that you have. Because I've been studying hands-on healing lately, and it sounds pretty woo-woo to folks on but I think that's my path moving forward, is to get really good at hands-on healing. That's my 2025 goal, to be so much better than I am now. So, but use what you have, and to deal with the pain, and then just move forward.
Right on. Lenora.
I'm gonna try and do it not between verbs. Elijah, circling back to what you had said, I think the phrase of you can't say the right thing to the wrong person and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person works perfectly right here.
I feel to roll my sleeve and show you my tattoo.
What does it say?
It says, for those who believe, no explanation is necessary.
Aww.
And for those who do not, none will suffice.
Yay! I love that. That's such a good one.
And believe it or not, it's not about belief. It's about acceptance. It's about this whole idea that, oh, if they don't believe, none will suffice. It's not like, yes, on the surface, the words are saying that, if they don't believe, no matter what you say, it's not going to make them believe. But that's not really what the quote's about. What the quote is about is you being able to accept that this person is different from you and that you don't have to agree to get along with them. Right? And I think there's so much pain in our world because of disagreements and non-accepting of the other person because they think different from the way you do, or they feel different from the way you do.
I would agree with that.
Big time.
I just wanted to add one more thing. And I agree that it's a click. There has to be a rapport there. There has to be a connection there. And I had said this once to a woman on a podcast, and we were talking about speech therapy. And I had said, your first speech therapist will not be your only speech therapist. And if you have a speech therapist and they don't have a great connection with your child, don't hesitate and go look for another therapist. And she had flipped it into date your therapist. Because I had said, if you were going on a first date, you wouldn't say, okay, then I'll just marry you because you're the one here that's my option. I said, no, you would keep going. You would keep going. So anytime if somebody's telling me they're working with a coach or a doctor or a therapist, whatever it is, and they're not having a great rapport, I say, keep looking, keep going. It doesn't mean that person doesn't work. It simply means that person's not your person. Keep going, keep finding
It's the same
somebody.
with like personal trainers, right?
Mm-hmm,
Your
totally.
first personal trainer might push you too hard, or they might not push you hard enough, right? And you're looking for one that just fits. I would like to also, just real quick before I shut up, clarify that when I say I get triggered by bad hypnosis, what I mean is I get triggered by bad hypnosis that thinks it's good hypnosis.
Yes.
Right? So obviously there is bad hypnosis, but that's, you're on the journey to learning. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And I will never give anybody shit for putting in effort, right? But if you think and you think you're all that and it's still doing bad hypnosis, then I have a problem with it. That's it.
People are going to hear what they want to hear anyway. It doesn't matter what you actually say.
Oh, that is so good, Fran. Accurate.
Yep.
I feel like Holly's head nodding off camera on this one.
The trick is to say what they think they want to hear. You know something David said to me? I don't know if I should repeat this. This is my second blah, 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 words, Elijah. My second ever David Snyder training. And it was a training about persuasion and influence. The first one was about regressions. One was more, real life hypnosis rather than therapy room hypnosis. And as David does, as I'm sure many of you know, if not all of you, at the beginning of the class, he's like, what do you want to get out of this class? What do you want to get out of this? What do you want to get out? What do you want to get? And he goes around the room and he asks everybody. And there was this young guy, can't have been more than 19 years old, in the back row in the back. He goes, what do you want to get out of this class? And the kid said, I want to make people do what I want. And without missing a beat, David said, get a gun. It works every time. It works every time. He said, that's not what I teach. Your job is not to get people to do what you want. Your job is to get people to want to do what you want. Because you cannot make somebody do something they don't want to do.
Yep.
But you can help them want something different if it suits them. And I don't know how many of you listening to this today or tomorrow or way in the future really understand just how deep what I said was just now. But that's a very strong thing to learn and master.
Those of us in the know. If you know, you know.
You know?
Yep. I've had
You
a number.
know.
I've actually had a number of people come to me wanting me to teach them dark triad stuff and things like that. And I'm like, the fact that you asked it that way means you are not qualified for that knowledge.
That's right.
You do.
That's right.
Nope. Can't teach you. Won't teach you. In fact, I would like to figure out ways to block you from learning that.
You know the whole yin and yang thing as well? Oh, I don't know if I should say it. I might save this one. I'll say it after finish. After you're no longer live broadcasting, I'll say it. I'm not going to say that one out loud.
Well, we got 7 minis left.
Come on, Elijah.
No, I can't do it. It's too dangerous.
I'm a bad influence.
It's too dangerous, dude.
Mark.
I have a question that I wanted to bring to the group is, I don't want to embarrass anyone out there, but there are some people in this group that's just, they just seem to have a presence. And I feel that, being able to get up in front of a group and do a talk, they just have a presence, and I don't feel like I have that. Maybe it's the mindset, and I've done it in in other settings amongst friends to get up in front of a group. But in front of a group of strangers, I get kind of embarrassed opening up and trying to connect to the group. And I'd like to have a sense of, in a group this small, there's no problem, but have even just the fact that this is going to be on YouTube and people are going to be watching me. I had to deal with that. But it's about having that presence in front of a large group, that it's always been a a real challenge for me to, even when I got up in front of Dr. David's, and I was trying to tell a story, and I got very emotional, and I was vulnerable. I didn't feel like I had that presence that you can connect, and I can't define it any better than that. But how do you? I know it's Holly said it's about doing it often enough to desensitize yourself so that you know to be able to do public speaking. But some people the camera just seems to love, and I don't feel I've ever been a person like that, and to have that presence in front of a group of strangers. I don't know how to get it. I don't know how to acquire it. I don't know what the mindset is to do that. So it's something that I'm putting that question. How do you develop that sense of presence?
Lenore.
For me, Mark, I've worked with a number of people. TJ is one of them that is included. And if you go back to the videos, Holly will attest to this, Fran will attest to this, and so will Elijah, and I'm pretty sure Linda. If you watch me early on in the videos, like video 10, maybe something like that, like I said nothing because I was terrified of it. And then one day I even had to give a 30-second speech in front of colleagues that I was networking with, and I was panicked. And TJ's laughing, and I'm sure Holly's laughing too, and in the most sincere way, because they remember me being a hot mess. And I really worked hard to navigate through that and clear that. And there was a whole lot of tears and a whole lot of tissues, but it's something that I had to deal with emotionally. I didn't get more comfortable the more I did it. I had to clear this stuff to get more comfortable doing it. So that's my very own personal experience, and you can see the footage for it.
Well,
Thank
I'd
you.
love to add to that, please. And yeah, the only way to do it, to get over it, is to just do it. And the way to connect with people is to be vulnerable, is to be authentic, is to be you, and to listen. And just do it until you start to get better at it. And be prepared to be rubbish at it to start off with. If you can look back a number of months on how rubbish you were at the beginning, you've made huge progress. So embrace that.
And with 2 minutes left, Elijah.
I know, I'm sorry, dude.
No, go
Sorry.
ahead.
With 2 minutes left, Elijah, you've heard me do this before, where I apologize for talking too long, and you've heard me say things like, "Oh, I promise I'll be quick." And I have had people tell me numerous times that I talk too much. The reason I talk too much is because I get all into what I'm saying. And that, though it may not be for every listener, certainly helps in bringing a passion through in what I'm saying. And in that passionate message is what makes people want to gravitate and lean in and listen a little bit longer. So love what you do, which I'm sure you do love what you do, right? And also, like, maybe ask yourself when you have 5 minutes, after the call or whenever, right? Just ask yourself, how would I know if I had that feeling? You said, I don't know how to get it. I don't know how to, where it comes from for other people. They don't have that kind of grounded, whatever. Like, how would you know if you did? How would your legs feel different? How would your voice feel different? Would your words project from a different part of you? There's an exercise I used to do, I used to say, this is my nose. This is my throat. Down here, you can't quite say, this is my diaphragm. And when I speak from down here, that's when people really listen. right? So little exercises like that. There is a wonderful TED Talk. You can, it's called How to Speak So People Will Listen. A wonderful, wonderful TED Talk by this English gentleman who gets up and does public speaking. Yeah, that's it. We're out of time. That's all I got for you in the 3 minutes that I had.
Thank you.
There,
Thank you all.
I've been helping people with this for a long, long time. I've been an audio tech for over 30 years. And with public speaking being the number one global fear on the planet, I've had to help people like that. So if you guys are interested, we could make next week's Triple T one of the subjects, and I could go over a lot of the protocols that I use to help people with public speaking. And yes, Lenora has made me very proud because she has made massive headway in that department. So if you're interested, we can do that. That brings us just past the top of the hour, which sadly, these things just seem to, 2 hours just seems to bing, and it's gone. But I made it a promise that I would respect your guys' time, because I will always say it. Time is the one thing that I cannot give back to you. I wish I could. I could use a little extra myself. But for you to give up your precious commodity of time to spend it, invest it here on this format to help others and help us and spend time with this tribe, I will always be very, very grateful beyond my vocabulary. So, once again, thank you from every portion of my DNA and my cells and my everything. You guys on YouTube, love you, Mom. And have a great week. Go out into the world, make it a better place, enjoy life, live it as full as you can. And I hope to see your beautiful smiling faces back here in 7 days for Triple T number 109. Till then, love ya. Talk to you soon. Bye. Yes, Elijah, keep us posted on your knee.
Thank you, everyone, for your help. Awesome job, TJ. Thank you, everyone.
Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks, Linda.
Bye-bye.
Bye, friend.